Hey YouTube, welcome to the Amazing Spider-Man number 6 review. Getting a little bit of a glare, so there it is, number 6. Now this is Legacy issue number 900, so this is a extra thick square-bound book, as you can see, and price tag on this one was $9.99. So definitely a pricey book, but we're celebrating issue number 900, and this year is the Amazing Spider-Man's 60th anniversary. So I'm not going to do a full review on this book. This is a little bit of a departure from the current storyline, although there are some elements in the book, but we'll get through it. I don't want this to be a 20-minute review because it is like I said, an extra thick book. And so the story starts out with a dig in a landfill, and somebody is looking for something and they have found it. And so this issue too, before we get further into the story, is written by Zeb Wells. He's the current writer on the Amazing Spider-Man series. But interesting that the pencils were Ed McGuinness, so a little departure from John Romita Jr. for this, although John did do a number of the covers, and certainly the A cover for this book, which is not shown here. This, like I said, is a Scotty Young. But, so, what we find is that Peter's friends are throwing him a surprise party, and of course, as things go for Peter Parker, he shows up on time and messes it up because they kind of expected him to be late, as Peter Parker normally is. And so, you know, there's a little bit of a disappointment. There's no big surprise because he showed up too early. But then in comes Doc Ock's arms, and we see that they are attached to Jonah Jameson from the Daily Bugle. And so now, you know, there's a situation, and we have actually Black Cat, who was at the party. So she's trying to deal with it, and Peter's kind of caught in the crosshairs, you know, realizing like, oh, I got to do something. I got to help Jonah here. And so he kind of springs into action and helps, nice little splash page there, and helps out Jonah. He's able to get the arms, Doc Ock's arms off of Jonah, and then they kind of attach themselves to Spider-Man, and he knows he's got a little bit of an issue to deal with here. And so then Jonah goes in and breaks up the party, and, you know, kind of distracts everybody from the fact that Peter left and is not around, and now Spider-Man is out. So he's trying to break up the party, and the arms have basically been sent. Doc Ock's arms have been sent to try to, you know, summon Peter, because we find out that Doc Ock is in trouble. And so we have a, you know, kind of mysterious figure here, and so we don't really know what's going on. But come to find out now, this is a villain that Spider-Man has dealt with in the past, and he is known as the Living Brain. And we find out that he is trying to answer the question, who is Spider-Man? And so he's basically set a trap for Spider-Man using, you know, some of his former foes, and he's fighting this super adaptoid. So I guess this is a villain that Spider-Man had faced, you know, previously, or a version of it. And so, you know, this mysterious figure now has trapped some of Spider-Man's friends, because again, he is trying to answer the question, who is Spider-Man? And so their friends, you know, there are a few people that know Peter Parker's Spider-Man identity, but they are trying to keep it a secret, and they're trying to distract, you know, the mysterious figure from, you know, getting the answer that he's seeking. And then we get a little bit of a flashback, and we find out that this mysterious figure is the Living Brain. So the Living Brain was, like I said, a foe that Spider-Man has faced, previously. And so we get a little bit of the backstory. And again, he has been programmed to try to figure out Spider-Man's secret identity. Is like his main goal, in his life is to, if a living brain can have a life, is to identify, answer the question, who is Spider-Man? And so there's several, fights and they're questioning of some of his friends to try to get answers. And we have Aunt May, Robbie Robinson, and they're trying to distract. And, Spider-Man just says, look, if you want to know who I am, just ask me. And then he's dealing with this, Spider-Bot and dealing with him. And the Adaptoid is kind of a collaboration of all of the Sinister Six villains. So we see a little bit of Mysterio and Kraven, Sandman, Doc Ock, kind of all tied up into this one, foe that Spider-Man's facing. And so, I'm going to kind of fast forward a little bit here. Words are tough tonight. Spider-Man's got me tongue-tied. And so ultimately Spider-Man finds that the living brain has captured all of the Sinister Six: Vulture, Electro, Mysterio, Kraven, Doc Ock. Who did I leave out? Sandman. And so they're all trapped, and Spider-Man faces dilemma. Either he's got to go deal with the super adaptoid, or does he, free the Sinister Six and have them help him? So there's a lot of kind of jokes back and forth, kind of quipping like, hey, if you really let us go, we should kill you, and things like that. So kind of classic Spider-Man with the jokes back and forth. But ultimately, Spider-Man does free the Sinister Six, and they are going to help him. And, a little fight ensues, a little back and forth. And once they have the, let's just fast forward again here. The, and that was the one little funny piece where, the Sinister Six trying to work as a team is kind of a mess, and they've always been, because they always kind of contradict or, conflict with each other because of what everybody wants to take leadership. And because the super adaptoid was, had traits of each of the, six Sinister Six members, he ultimately kind of tears himself apart because he can't deal with the conflicting, leadership. And so now we see, the living brain who's been kind of behind this all. And, the Sinister Six says, hey, we need to take him out. He tried to kill us. He captured us, and we get to the heart of Spider-Man, Spider-Man's story, since the beginning, 60 years ago. He is here to help protect, the innocent. And he's basically saying, look, guys, you cannot destroy the living brain. And so it's kind of an ode to, Spider-Man and what Spider-Man is all about. And so he's defending the defenseless here. And he is taking on the Sinister Six, to save the living brain, who is defenseless. And, we kind of see that the Sinister Six gets the best of him. And then Doc Ock wants to deliver the final blow. And that we see that the Doc Ock's tentacles are unable to complete the final blow to kill Spider-Man because, they built a little, friendship when they came to rescue or to lead, Spider-Man to Doc Ock to help save him. So a little bit of a twist there. The living brain who's using this, and this mysterious figure is basically a avatar for the living brain. And he basically says, I've collected all the information, and now I've finally been able to answer, who is Spider-Man. Spider-Man is somebody who's going to defend, somebody in need, somebody who's defenseless. And then he's able to dispose of the Sinister Six, get them out of the situation, and send them back. And Spider-Man even makes a joke saying, hey, I wish, where are you sending them? And he said, I'm sending them back to where I captured them from. And, you know, Spider-Man says, I wish you could have sent him to the police instead. But, you know, and then, you know, the living brain, you know, wishes Peter, he says, Peter, he identifies who he is, a happy birthday. And then Spider-Man, Peter Parker, pulls the plug on the power for the living brain and the android. And so, well, I think I skipped a page. So that's kind of the conclusion of the story. And then we see Black Cat. And although the birthday got messed up, she plants a big old kiss on him, wishing him a happy birthday. And so at the end, he does have a, you know, a good ending to his birthday, I guess. And then we're previewing back to to the next issue, issue 7, for the you know, continuation of the storyline. The one thing that was interesting in this book was that there was no Mary Jane. So, you know, this is really a continuation of the current storyline, although it kind of took a little detour here to celebrate Spider-Man with issue number 900. But Mary Jane was not present at the party or anywhere in the story. So certainly is continuing along with that storyline where Peter and Mary Jane are not speaking and they're apart. So we'll see what occurs now and, you know, where we pick up in issue 7. But again, this was really just a celebration of Spider-Man and 900 issues and his 60th anniversary. The fact that we, you know, the questions asked, who is Spider-Man? And we think they're looking for his secret identity, Peter Parker. And the answer that we learn is that he is, you know, willing to put his neck on the line for his friends, you know, for innocent people. And that's really the true nature of Spider-Man. So overall, this was a really, you know, a light story, but a very just a reminder of what Peter Parker and Spider-Man stand for as a character. So with that, I'd say I'll give it, on my 1 to 5 web scale, I'm going to go with a 5, right? It pulls at the heartstrings a little bit and reminds you, you know, at the heart of Spider-Man and Peter Parker that, you know, he is the guy who will step up and help anybody, you know, in need, no matter what the odds. So, you know, the old, you know, with great power comes great responsibility. So overall, like I said, I enjoyed it. So let me know if you guys read it. What did you think? I'm interested to see now where the story goes. I'm hoping that, you know, this new series, 6 issues in, that we do get some answers with the current storyline that has been going on. But this was, like I said, a nice little departure, a nice little break, and a nice reminder of, you know, what Spider-Man, you know, is all about. So that's it, guys. Thanks very much for watching, and here I am, 13 minutes, and I wasn't. Hope you enjoyed it. Drop me a comment, let me know.